first talk about arrow functions. So arrow functions were introduced in ES6, which was introduced in 2015. Here is I'm making a simple function like let's say my function, or so I'm gonna make a function with the multiply by 2. Okay, and this would take in a num and return that num with the multiplication of 2, and can do so log directly whatever the output of that function is multiplied by. Why it's not giving me the recommendations? I'm passing in 2, so it should return 4. I'm gonna run it. It's return me 4. So let's try to convert this same function an arrow function. Okay, function keyword, so we can just type in multiply by 2 and we can say is equal to, and the parameter goes over here. So you would type in that parameter over here, so whatever that is you can pass in that, and then you would add in equal and greater than sign, so to make it an arrow, and then you would open curly brackets like this, and then you can write whatever the function definition you have. This is a way of writing the function with an arrow function. So I'm gonna do is return num multiply by 2. I'm gonna comment out this line of code so to check it if it's working or not. So it's working fine. Let's go more into it. So if we have just only the return statement, so what we can do is remove the return. We can remove the opening and curly brackets. Okay, can do it like this. So this means it's returning whatever the num is with multiplication of by 2. Okay, so if we have only the one parameter, we can even remove the opening and closing parentheses of parameter. Okay, so we can do that as well, and then we can assign functions to variables as well, like this const, and then we can pass in that function to another function. This is also working. So yeah, that's it for like arrow function. Now I'm gonna go into the anonymous function. So for anonymous function, I'm gonna like take in this example that we like covered in our higher order functions and callback functions. I'm gonna uncomment out this line of code. I'm gonna do is, instead of like passing in this definition, I'm gonna comment out this line of code. Okay, and I'm gonna like remove this line of code also, and instead of like passing in on the function definition, making a function and then passing in that function reference over here, so what we can do is, instead of making a function name, we can anonymous function is a function that has no name. Okay, so we can like make a thing that will ultimately do is we don't have the like function name. Okay, so we will try to add in definition over here instead of passing in the function reference. Okay, so what we'll do is divide by 2. So I'm gonna do is num arrow num by 2, passing the whole definition into the function parameter as an argument. Okay, so this is gonna work. So now it has no name and it is tremendously used in programming. It's performing, and if I like change it to multiplication without even defining a function name and doing stuff like that, you can pass in the function definition directly in the argument of the function. It perform like this, and I'm gonna like touch a little bit more on anonymous functions, and you can like make a function like this, and you can do is function, make a function, and then console log. So this function has no name and I'm an anonymous function. Okay, and then calling that function. What's the error? Console log is not a function. I don't know why is it not working. Let's try to run this same function into my Visual Studio. I'm gonna type in this, and let's try to run it in Firefox. and so it's working in a Firefox console, so it may be a Node.js error or maybe it's a Replit error. So we can do more stuff with it, like let's try to make a button that won't do anything. It's just we want to like cover the anonymous function. Let's try to check button, name it check button, and give it an ID of button. So let's grab this button into our JavaScript file into DOM, and we can grab this button into DOM is by a DOM as a DOM element is by const button is equal to document.get element, whatever that ID is. Okay, get element by ID, and what we are doing is passing in that button and assigning it to a variable or const button. Okay, button click, we want to listen to it. Okay, so on click, instead of calling a function like this, my function, okay, that we would do over here, function, my function, and I got clicked. Okay, we can see it over here. So when I click on this button, you can see I got clicked. So instead of doing it like defining a function and then calling it over here as an argument to the second thing, so we can do is directly define the anonymous function over there and then perform the operation there. Define an anonymous function over here. Writing this with the arrow syntax, we will do is inside of that we will add the body of that. I got clicked. Okay, I got clicked. Here you go. So that's how you do or use anonymous functions.